Good evening, fellow punters. Mickey D back with you here on Saturday evening, about 7 o'clock, with a few for tomorrow after an eventful day in racing. It'll be remembered always as the day that Eid retired. It'll also be remembered as the day that he lost his undefeated record. Clearly the ground was against him, and the ground, I always say, is key to any horse's best performance, and it suited Bay Bridge. It's a pity that he didn't go out undefeated, but that's what happens. It'll also be remembered, I remember it anyway, as the day when I woke up this morning and at a 33-1 shot backed. Big thanks. That was in the Everest in Australia, in Ranwick. Giga Kick. I mentioned it the other night because when Andrew Dunn put it up, I think he's up Leyland Bridge direction because he knew where I had the breakfast. Somebody asked where it was when I was up at Willie Mullins' yard, and he knew that it was close to Leyland Bridge, Closs Sutton. So he'd be a horsey territory. And I did say the other night that he knew his stuff the way he was going on. Fair play to him. I looked at the two videos of the last running that he had run, that Giga Kick. 3-year-old, that's 5 for 5. He's a right little horse, came from behind, but Jamal had given up all his rides at the Caulfield Cup this morning in Melbourne to ride in Ranwick. So clearly he had his homework done and he knew what the horse was about. I watched it about 12 or 14 times today and I still got a great buzz out of it, but it was one of the best rides I ever seen. He tucked in at the back after coming out of the stalls and made a one withered run up along, and he knew he was going to get there. Very, very, look at it, it's on YouTube. Just Google in the Everest race. And I 20 each way and I'm at 33-1. I'm delighted. And I'll meet you for a pint sometime. I'm up that direction. There was a good few on it as well. I got a few texts today from people. And I've seen in the comments as well a few was honest. That was mighty. Great start to the day. And then an even better start was Trushan. Didn't sort of like the ground, but showed champion spirit and overtook our gallant second one, Coltrane, that we backed in Royal Ascot. Then Tenebrism was placed at 16-1. They were paying out 5. And then it went against Emily Upjohn, of course, on the last run, and the other ones didn't run so well at all. But all in all, a good enough day. Tomorrow, tonight first, what do you call it? The American National is in Far Hills. Hewick was even money last night and this morning. It's gone 4-7, I see now. Most of the horses in it, English and Irish and racecourse, will be familiar with the names, a lot of them. As for someone, used to be with Tom Simmons, and Pistol Whip used to be with Nicky Henderson. Nico DeVonville has gone over to ride that, and Belfast Banter used to be with Peter Fahey at one in Cheltenham a couple of years ago. But interesting, Danny Mullins has gone over to ride a horse for Kerry Bryan. She used to train here for a couple of years. As Paddington, and that used to be with Rebecca Menzies. And it won 4 of 6 races earlier this year. And won his last race for off a rating of 134 over hurdles. One run in America, it was in the Lonesome Glory, that Group 1 over 2.5. They call it a chase, but sure, they're only big hurdles. But it wasn't off the air, and they're bringing over Danny Mullins. And with 9 runners in it, it's 33-1. I thought it might be best a couple of pounds each way maybe on that tonight as an interest, because you'd be hoping as well that, you know, that Huey could win it for the Shark. But I thought that was interesting. It wasn't off the air last year, and it finished second. I was watching the video of it earlier. Actually, Hewick won the Durham National last year, and that takes place tomorrow in Sedgefield. It's over 3 miles 5. And I thought tomorrow that the top weight, Two Amigos for Nicky Martin, and there's a Peter Pritchard, a £5 claimer. He's 2 for 2 in the last 21 days. This is a front runner, and it has been second and fifth in 2 Welsh Nationals, and it's only 10. It went well fresh before. I prefer if there was more cut on the ground. In fact, if it was heavy, you'd be saying it'd nearly win it for sure. But it might get an easy lead in Sedgefield, and at 7-2 I thought it might be worth the point win. We go to Naas. There's two nice races tomorrow, but one interests us because we had a winner before in Galway, Yaxeni. The more rain overnight for this, the better. Went out in front in Galway in a listed race there in September, and it won. And then it ran at the Cesarovich over 2 miles the last time, and it only weakened 2 out. It's all stamina in the pedigree, and the more rain the better, as I said. It's a 3-1 shot. It's raced 104. It's not well in at the weights with the 3-year-olds, because one raced 102 and one raced 101. But this is a big, strong mare. I'd expect her to go close, and I'd be sweeter on it if it's heavy ground tomorrow, if it rained overnight and into tomorrow. So you could double up a bet if it gets heavy. That's into 3:30 at Naas. There's an interesting 25-1 shot in the 405 Bringsty. It's a 4-year-old trained by John McConnell. It's rated 65, but it had 3 runs starting off its career in the UK with David Simcock, and then it moved to Aidan McGuinness and it was rated 85. It had 10 runs for him, so it's never any better than 8. So it went down the ratings to 59. It won on a second start for the new barn in Laytown. That was over 7 furlongs. But it went running over 10 furlongs for the first time the last time. It was an eye catch, it was out the back, not off the yard, and it finished an eye catch in 6th up along the stretch. It was so far wide at one stage it went out of the picture. But if the handbrake is off tomorrow, and Amy Jo Hayes riding it, and she's 4 for her last 12 in apprentice races, at 25-1 they're paying 5 places. I thought we'd have a pint each way in it. We have a horse out as well tomorrow that we backed the last day. I would prefer to have seen it going up a furlong, but the stiff pull of a finish in Naas might suit it. Lazer Port. It's a 30-2 shot. It has collateral form sort of with the favourite, because both of them are second to that Johnny Murta horse, Mile End. And actually the favourite, Ross O'Sullivan's horse, went up, Pádraig Roach's, it went up £7 for being second. But we were second and we didn't go up anything at all. And he's £3 higher now. Now I know that Robert Weirty has taken off the 7 that he went up. But I thought the stiff finish in my suit, Lazer Port, and then we'll go back that each way. And there was, Earls is out tomorrow in the last race. In fact, I'm tempted to go tomorrow if it's fine. I might go to Naas to the races, up to see Earls. He's won 3 races for us on the bus recently. 2 of them are in Roscommon, and he was in a reverse forecast with Darien. Darien is actually in the same race as well, but Darien needs a mile, I believe. This is 6 furlongs. The last run was over a mile for Earls, and the other 2 were over 7 furlongs. But back to 6, stiff finish with a suit. I mean, they're not running it. It only went up to 85, and it was second in Naas of 77 early in the year. So it has won 3 races and ran well, and it's only up £8. So it should be in with a fighting chance, you'd imagine. When I done all these today, I left out a few winners that I would have picked normally, but I decided to do the Ascot card. I had wrote down yesterday evening Boot Hill. I mentioned it last night. He was 5-2 at the time. He won Handy. Wob eventually won today. It was 5s into 7-2, and Cairo. But the reason I done that was because of the significance of the big meeting. So I hope some of you got on a few of them anyway. I know that Chris Marshall mentioned Wob today, and somebody else mentioned anyway, doesn't matter. What's done is done, what's won is won, and what's lost is lost and gone forever. Over and out. Bash the bookies.